is what I call the interpersonal index. So you can be a top student, but that will only get you so far. You'll only get up to a 70% SD, and then you have to distinguish yourself from the other top students. Extracurricular volunteer activities. Ms. Chen talked about that already, so start setting that up in elementary and middle school years. I would just add, it's important to work with your kid on this and find extracurricular volunteer activities that they actually like and enjoy, and will spend the time practicing and pursuing. And there's such a wide range that you can choose from out there. There should be a couple or more for every kid. Teacher recommendations, I would count even more important than the essay, because this is an objective adult that is evaluating your child. And these you will choose from primarily your junior year teachers, sometimes 10th grade teachers. So this is something you can work on with your child actually earlier too, how to speak up in class, how to participate, how to seek help if they need it academically on their own outside of class, or how to work and problem solve with the teacher if they have a grading issue. Okay, then we get to the college essays, interview with admissions officer, alumni rep, and the life story or life obstacles. So these are the intangibles of the application. I just kind of did simple math, divided it, and got college essays is about 6%. So that's really where I think the admissions chances will be kind of decided, because a lot of the kids are very hardworking, very diligent, very bright, and they may have some more extracurricular and volunteering work resume activities, but they all have different ways of communicating and portraying themselves, and that comes through in the college essay and the interviews with the alumni rep or the admissions officer. Interviews are not standardized. They don't count the same for every school. But college essays, every school has one. So that's the one aspect within the student's control and the family's control earlier on. Life story and or life obstacles. That is where ethnicity comes into play. So for this is the Chinese American Parents Association. What is this? Sorry.
Chinese
American Association. Okay, so predominantly Asian audience, diverse audience, but unfortunately in California for the UC schools and also with the selective Ivy League admissions, you're not considered a minority. So it doesn't always help you, give you bonus points. That if some admissions officers, they may almost conclude that you are a child of a sheltered, privileged background, and that's what your parents have been working so hard to give you by moving to such a wonderful residential community as Walnut. But then they expect more. They expect more from you because you grew up with advantages. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so these are the essay prompts from the Common App, which is the organization that governs the majority of the private school admissions, except for MIT, Georgetown. Columbia used to be not on the Common App, but now it's on. By the time your students apply for college, probably most colleges will be on the Common App. These essay prompts have been the same for the past 5 years or so. They probably will change with some minor variation. They're very broad and open-ended. The first one, evaluate a significant experience, achievement, risk you have taken, or ethical dilemma you face and its impact on you. This is a pivotal experience in your child's life. And also this is very similar to the UC essay prompt number 2. Number 2, discuss some issue of personal, local, national, or international concern and importance to you. A lot of my seniors now will not touch this because they don't follow current events and they have no liking for following current events. So they have no passion or political interest that they will write about. The ones who do choose to touch this do very well, and it's a very impressive essay. Number 3, so you only really have to write one of these. Indicate a person who has had a significant influence on you, describe that influence. This one is a popular one. A lot of people choose to write about one of their parents, one of their grandparents, one of their teachers, coaches, music teachers, what have you. But this one is one of the ones that can be cliched and overdone sometimes. And you have to be careful not to write a biography of the other person, but about the relationship between you and that person. Number 4, describe a character in fiction, a historical figure, or creative work, as in art, music, science, etc., that has had an influence on you, and explain that influence. I really like this one, as my students and their families know. Especially, I try to push this on the high-achieving students who are aiming for the Ivy Leagues and plus, because this essay prompt allows you to showcase your intellectual abilities and scholarly interests, and it applies to any type of student. if they excel in literature or history or science or art or music, this is a chance to really engage with the big ideas and demonstrate that on paper. Number 5, I'm not even going to summarize this one. I don't really like this one, but I'll allow some people to write it. This is like the diversity essay, and it's really hard to make this not cliche and not politically correct. The students who do try this one, I encourage them to not write about ethnic diversity, but write about ideological diversity or diversity of their personality or what they can bring to the school, character-wise. And then number 6, the topic of your choice. So this is just free for all. And this is kind of where I want to address this audience, because a lot of my seniors now, they can't come up with their own topics. They cannot think outside of the box or be creative. So I think, you know, in the younger years, if you can encourage your children to do that, that'll make writing the college essay easier. Next slide, please. Okay, these are just some general guidelines that I go over with my students. So right now in elementary, middle school, your English teachers are doing a great job training your students to write persuasive, analytical essays. However, when you're writing a college essay, it's more creative writing. It's more like writing a story. Or I tell the kids, sometimes pretend you're like a screenwriter. So I know a lot of students, they do summer tutoring or summer prep. So perhaps a creative or independent writing class would be helpful in that sense. Or you could just encourage your child to journal or blog on their own. So, as you can see, I'm not going to go over these because I know we're running short on time. They're kind of opposites, kind of flips of the other in terms of guidelines. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so these are real students of mine who've gotten into these schools, and these are they're more memorable essays. And this will freak a lot of my parents out because they're like, what? I can't have my child writing about pink in a college essay, but it actually works because I get bored reading all these essays, and if you think about the admissions officer's job, they have to read thousands of essays in their admission season. So anything that's eye-catching, unique stands out. Okay, so pink. This kid wrote about he had a pink iPod, pink backpack, and he's proud of it. And he goes around school wearing it, whatever, and he's very confident. Okay, Fight Club. Fight Club is both a book and a movie, and the student actually read the book first before he saw the movie. And he talked about how his Asian Americanness is sometimes often stereotyped against him, and Fight Club allowed him to kind of grapple with issues of identity. Okay, growing up in Corona. This is kind of cool because a lot of the East Coast schools have no idea what the Inland Empire is, so she was talking about driving around Grand Avenue and how it used to be a racetrack, and there's like cows, it smells like cows where she lives. So there's a real hometown flavor to that. Airports. This girl was fortunate to travel with her family to visit relatives or just to go on conferences and things that she did on her own. So she really liked going to the airport. It wasn't a hassle for her because she would just sit there while her parents dealt with all the hassle stuff and just observe and just kind of make up stories and be excited about this gateway of people going to new places and having new adventures and taking a little risk. Okay, my life as a Buddhist. This is a student just last year who got into Harvard. He wrote about volunteering at CG in Hacienda Heights, I think, or Alhambra, one of those. And the gong sounding, so it was a very rich, textured, descriptive essay. And there were a lot of models featured. The ugly painting I hated. This is an art student, actually, who wrote about a painting she thought was grotesque that she saw in the Contemporary Museum in downtown LA. But in the essay, she talked about how she had to respect the painting at the end because that's that artist's vision. Every artist has their own vision. Okay, physics of tennis. A lot of kids, Asian American kids, play tennis while on piano. This kid had a more scientific friend of mine, and he was analyzing projectile motion and momentum and force, so that was kind of nerdy, also cool. Okay, and bicycling through Fullerton. This is another hometown flavor essay. This kid actually wrote about his, I shouldn't call them kids, they're young adults. He wrote about his friendships actually growing up and his childhood friends and how he kept them. And bicycling was a way to relieve stress. Okay, last slide, please. Oh, one more, sorry.